Hi you guys, welcome back to my videos. Today I wanted to talk to you about a product that I have been loving and using for so many years now, both for myself and for Misha, and that is Pahadi Local's Gutti Ka Tel or apricot kernel oil. This is one of my absolute favorite beauty products, and today I want to talk to you about how I've been using it for both my pregnancies to prevent stretch marks and also how I've been using it for both newborn massage for Misha when she was a baby and how I use it for her now that she's no longer a newborn but a toddler with very specific skincare needs. But before we get started on all of that, there's something that I really just want to say and get out of the way, and that's to do with natural beauty products. I know that there is such a request for information about natural beauty, and there's such a very valid concern in many times for all natural beauty products. And I've noticed that when it comes to wanting to use natural beauty, a lot of you guys are really focused on your skincare. And I really just want to say to you that if you are really that concerned about, I don't want to say chemicals because everything has chemicals in it. Even the air is composed of chemicals. So if you are really concerned about not having any toxic chemicals in your products, can I just say that it's far more important that you use non-toxic or natural beauty for your body. And when you are applying something on your body, that is 90% of your entire skin. Your face is just this much. And so when it comes to body care, I always try and keep it really, really natural as much as I can. And this is especially true when it comes to your babies. When it comes to taking care of your baby's skin, especially their body, I would say try and go natural as much as possible. And that's one of the reasons that I've really loved Pahadi Local, especially with their oils. It's incredible. With the apricot kernel oil, which I've been using for a few years now, it's literally just harvested straight from the orchards. It's cold pressed and it goes straight into the bottle. You're really just getting pure apricot kernel oil, which is incredible for you. Let's talk about some of the benefits. For one, the texture really closely matches the sebum that your body naturally produces. Now, you might think of sebum as the stuff that your face produces that makes your oily skin really oily, but the fact is we all produce sebum and we produce it wherever we have skin. It's the stuff that keeps our cells together and moisturized, and it helps to protect our skin's moisture barrier. And why do you want to keep your skin's moisture barrier intact? It's because your skin's moisture barrier keeps all the bad stuff out and it keeps all the good stuff like the hydration and the electrolytes in. So anything that matches the texture of the sebum that your skin naturally produces is going to be really well accepted by your skin. When it comes to baby massage, I think one of the nicest things about Indian culture, especially when it comes to newborns, is this tradition of massage, because honestly it is one of the best things that you can do for your baby. I didn't realize until I had a baby of my own that massaging them helps with so many things like digestion. It helps them sleep better. It helps with stiff and aching joints, which I didn't really think was an issue that babies ever faced. One thing I noticed is before we started massaging Misha every day, she wouldn't let us raise her arms. So say we were massaging her in the morning, before the massage, she wouldn't let us sort of put her arms up. There would be a lot of resistance. And my mom pointed this out to me. After every massage, she would just raise them up. She would allow you to raise them up really easily. And we realized it's because she had a lot of, I don't want to say pain, although maybe it was a bit sore, but she had a lot of stiffness in this area because that's how you carry newborns. You carry them under their arms and you support the back of their skull because they're so floppy, right? So that constant pressure over here really takes its toll on them, and I didn't realize that. And so massage and apricot oil in general is really, really good for easing stiff and aching joints. Physical touch, and I'm sure you've read studies about this as well, not just for babies but also for adults, but especially for babies, really helps in aiding mental and physical development. There's something really lovely about massaging your baby every day. It's just such a lovely way to bond with your baby because you're looking into their eyes and you're rubbing oil into their skin and they're looking back at you and you're talking to them and they're cooing at you, and it's really, really lovely. But there's something that I want to say that I feel a little bit emotional about even now when I think about it, and that really is just about trusting your gut. I was really lucky when I first had Misha. I had a lot of help in the form of a really engaged and involved partner in Omar, and my mum was here as well. My mother-in-law was here and she was really helpful as well. And we had someone called a japa, which is basically in traditional Indian culture, it's someone who comes down to take care of the mother and the baby for the first 40 days. And it's fantastic when you're a first time mom if you have the opportunity to have a japa, because you're so out of your depth. And so a japa can really help with things like, changing the baby or giving the baby a bath. Now, there seems to be this idea in many cultures. I don't know if it's all across India, I don't know if it's an Asian thing, but there seems to be this idea that babies need to be bathed every day, and they need to be bathed in really warm water because you never want the babies to get cold. And I see this really often. You see babies even in the summer that are being kept really warm, and I think there's just this Asian idea that babies should never be exposed to anything cold for the first few months of their life. And the jury might be out on the warm cold thing, I'm not sure, but I do know for a fact that using really, really hot water to bathe your baby every single day is really bad for their skin. It's really bad for their moisture barrier. And it's something that I just wish I could have spoken up about and just communicated better to the lady who was helping to take care of Misha. I always felt like Misha was being bathed in water that was just way too hot, and when you're a new mom, everything is so sensitive, and I feel like you are so in tune with your baby sometimes that when something doesn't feel right, it just really doesn't feel right. And I know I'm getting really, this is the thing, it's so weird. It's like no matter how hard you try to be a good mom and no matter what you do, there's always going to be something that's going to make you feel so guilty. And I feel so guilty about this. And it's really not the worst thing. I mean, Misha was given really hot baths for, I would say, the first 2 or 3 months of her life, almost every day. And she ended up developing eczema because of it. And it's also something that runs in the family. She gets it from her dad's side. Omar is really prone to eczema as well. But I should have known, especially because of this tendency towards eczema, that the hot baths really weren't going to be good for her. And so if there's something that I could really just communicate to you guys is listen to your gut always. If something doesn't feel right, no matter what someone with supposed traditional wisdom says or someone with plenty more experience than you have in taking care of babies has to say, it's your baby. If something doesn't feel right, then speak up and say something about it. And so what we eventually ended up switching to was a lukewarm bath every other day, sometimes with a 2-day gap, because babies don't really get dirty. They don't really need their skin to be cleansed that often. But what they do need is constant reinforcement of their moisture barrier, because it is so important that their skin in the first few weeks of their life is really well protected. And so whether or not she was having a bath every single day, she was getting a massage every single day with the apricot kernel oil. I looked at all the sort of massage options out there, from creams to oils to moisturizers, and this just felt like the best one because, like I was saying, it really was just from the orchard straight to the bottle, and there was nothing else added to it. And apricot kernel oil, I've always known is really good for the skin, but once I started doing a little bit of research about it, it just really felt like the right choice. And the really interesting thing is, once Misha started developing this eczema, this really helped with it. I noticed that on days when we weren't massaging her with the oil, as she got a little bit older, so her eczema really came into play at about a year old, where we started seeing sort of darker patches of skin on her body. And then she would have really, really small, rough patches of skin on her legs. And then I noticed that when we were slacking off a little bit with the apricot oil, the patches would come back and the dark patches on her trunk would get darker. And so I made it a point to use it on her every single day. Now, the way that you want to use this oil when you're massaging a baby or a toddler or a child or even yourself, when you're using this on your body, the idea is that it's an oil and it seals in moisture. So you really want to apply it to damp skin. You don't want your skin or your baby's skin to be completely dry. Now let's talk about stretch marks and what I did to prevent them when I was pregnant with Misha, and now that I am currently pregnant with baby number 2. The thing about stretch marks is a lot of it when it comes to pregnancy is genetic. So if your mom was prone to stretch marks, you are more likely to be prone to them as well. But that's not to say that there's nothing you can do. To be perfectly honest, the best thing for stretch marks is hydration from the inside, and so that's drinking lots and lots and lots of water, as much water as you can during your pregnancy. That's the best way to really safeguard against stretch marks. And the second thing is to seal in hydration into your skin really, really well. So again, that means using a really high quality oil that seals moisture into your skin. So for me, when I was pregnant with Misha, I was using the Pahadi local apricot kernel oil pretty much every day since the second trimester onwards, because that's when I started showing. And the really funny thing is, I used it all over my bump and all over my body, but for some reason, I didn't use it under my bump. I don't know why, especially as I started getting bigger. It's just an area under my belly button that I just completely forgot about moisturizing. And interestingly enough, that is the only place that I have stretch marks. So I don't know if there's a correlation. I mean, I asked my mom about her stretch marks and she had them all over her belly and side, and I didn't get stretch marks in the same pattern. I just got them where I wasn't moisturizing, and so that made me feel like the apricot kernel oil had a lot to do with it. And so I've been so diligent about it in this pregnancy. I've been using it every single day after a shower while my skin is still damp. It's the same with babies as it is with adults, and I've been extra careful to use it all over my bump, like below my belly button, above my belly button, on the sides, everywhere. And so far I haven't got any stretch marks. But that's not to say that I won't get them. The thing about stretch marks, like I said, is so much of it is just down to genetics. If your mom or your grandmom was prone to them, you are likely going to be prone to them as well. I haven't always drunk as much water as I maybe should have, but I've done my best. I've tried to drink as much water as I can, and I've used this apricot kernel oil every single day. I'm now 9 months pregnant, and I've noticed that I've been getting a little bit itchy around my bump, so I'm just like, nope. I am now doubling down on the hydration and the moisturization, and I'm using the apricot kernel oil twice a day, so once after a shower and once before I go to bed. But just know that when it comes to stretch marks, prevention is so much better than cure, and so you always want to use a product that mimics the texture of your skin's naturally produced sebum. You want to be really consistent about it, and you want to drink a lot of water. So there you go. This is how I've been using the Pahadi local apricot kernel oil. I really hope that this was helpful to all you pregnant moms, expecting moms, new moms, or anyone who's really just asked me questions about this oil. Because every time I post about this, I get so many questions about it. So I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will do my best to answer. Thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.